Morning everybody. We had this guy come into the shop today, so we're going to do a Euro mount on it. So yeah, I'm not going to hold on to this thing for too much longer because it is friggin' heavy. So the first step is going to be to skin this thing and cut as much meat off of it as possible. That was easy. So this moose was actually shot in the head, so you can see this back part's a little wiggly. That shouldn't be like that, so we're gonna have to do some gluing and put that back together once this thing's cleaned up. Okay, next step is to put the moose in the beetle tank. So he's down in there. There's the bits of the back of the head that were blown off when he got shot, so clean those up so we can try and glue them back on. You see beetles are starting to crawl on it, so we'll leave that for a little bit and then we'll come and check on it. Hey, it's been a day or so. The beetles are doing pretty good. You can see that back end of that moose is blown right up, so that's going to take a bit of work to fix, but yeah, they're cleaning this thing up pretty quick. Took the moose out of the beetles and now I've got them in this big pot of water. I've got it pretty hot, so we can start the degreasing process. You can see the back of that moose, there's a big chunk missing off of it, so we're gonna have to clean all that up too. But yeah, this is probably the longest part of the process. Okay, so the moose has been degreasing for quite a while. It's looking pretty good now, so I'm putting peroxide on it. It's pretty simple. I just use the 40 volume stuff. Get it at any kind of hair salon or place like that. Just use a paintbrush, put it on there, apply it quite liberally all over the whole skull, and then we'll let it sit for a bit, and then come look at it. And depending on the skull, sometimes you need to add more than one coat to it, but generally speaking, one coat will get it done. So I already did the underside. I got most of the top part here done already too, so just make sure you get every bit of it covered. Rinse the peroxide off after it's been on there. Take this big tub, boil a bunch of water in it. I'll take my scrub brush and just kind of scrub all the stuff off there. You want the water quite hot. Try to get some of the blood stains off the antlers while you're at it. Yeah, you want the water quite hot. That cold water doesn't take the peroxide off nearly as well. So do all this, get it cleaned up. We'll let it dry, and then start trying to piece those back end parts back together. Okay, it's time to start trying to piece this thing back together. You can see kind of just looks like a dog's breakfast at the moment with all these parts. Whenever you're trying to fit skulls back together, it's helpful to have a whole one like this. I got this old found dead, it's a cow moose, but whatever, it's still a moose skull. So that you can kind of look at some of these pieces and compare it and figure out where they're supposed to belong on that skull. So I'm gonna start trying to piece this thing together and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so I'm starting to figure out some of these pieces where they go. This piece goes here, this one fits into there, these fit together kind of all here, that's there. These pieces I'm not sure yet, this is a part of the eye, but we'll fit that together. So when you're putting bones back together from something that's been shot, unfortunately they never go back together the way you hope they will. When the bullet hits the bone, things expand, things twist, things bend, little pieces disintegrate and go who knows where. So when you're putting things back together like this, you pretty much just have to do the best you can, fit it as best you can, as close as you can together, and that's all you can really do. Nothing will ever fit together perfectly. Some pieces will fit together better than others, but even here you see like this back piece here, there's a big crack in there, and that's where this piece goes, but it's not going to fit tight, so just do what you can do with it. I just use super glue when I'm putting these things back together, and just kind of get it as good as you can get it. It's a good reminder, if you want the skull done on an animal, don't shoot it in the head. This is also a big part of gluing skulls back together that have been shot, is just standing there holding the skull while the glue dries, waiting for it. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you got a lot of time and patience, because you're gonna be doing a lot of this. This is kind of cool right there. There's a piece of the bullet still lodged into the bone. It doesn't happen super often, but kind of neat to see. Okay, I've got the final piece of the skull, so we'll put some glue in here. Ran out of super glue, so I'm just using white glue now. It works just as good, it just takes a little longer for it to dry. I like the super glue because it dries really quick and holds really well. White glue will work just as good, it just takes a little while longer to dry, but this piece, once it's in there, isn't going to be moving, so it doesn't matter. It can sit there until it's totally dry. Super glue is nice when you're trying to glue things that have to kind of stay exactly where you put them. So put this guy in there, just like that. So you can see there's quite a bit of cracks, like some pretty big cracks in this skull. So I'm hoping probably try and fill these in a little bit with something to make them look a little less gaping. So we'll see how this looks when it's all dry. I'm just trying to fill some of these gaps in with this glue, the white glue. That's the one nice thing about the white glue is it does, you can put it on pretty thick and it seeps down into those cracks and fills the cracks up really nice. We have some bigger gaps. See how it looks when it dries, and then we'll go from there. I may do something to try and fill those cracks in a little bit, make this guy look a bit nicer, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Last thing I'm going to try and do is fill in some of these bigger cracks where the bone doesn't fit together real nice. I've got some air dry clay here, and it dries fairly light. It kind of goes on this gray color and then it dries almost white, so I'm hoping that it blends in pretty good. And I just want to try and smooth out some of these cracks and seams, make it look a little more like it's not blown to pieces. I'm just trying to smooth out this transition so it doesn't look so abrupt where the crack is. Just try and make it a little more smooth. better already, just even with the, the color not matching, just not seeing those great big gaps in there. Just helps make it look a little more normal. But it should dry fairly white, and then like I said, just help blend it in. You can always touch it up with some paint if I need to. I'd rather not. I hate painting skulls. But we again will cross that bridge when we get to it. Now I'm debating if I want to try and fill in that hole on the top where the small bones are disintegrated beyond hope of repair. Might give it a try. Worst case scenario, I pulled the clay out and it still looks the way it does right now. Best case scenario, it fills it in and looks really good, so don't really have anything to lose by trying. So. Looks once it's dry, but I think it'll look a lot nicer than having a hole right in the top of the skull. I think. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll see how it looks color wise. So if we have to, we'll touch it up with some I got some bone colored paint I can dust over top of it, but ideally it'll dry close enough to what it's supposed to look like so we don't have to worry about that. So in the spirit of full transparency, yesterday, almost immediately after I turned off the camera, I had one of those moments where you can only help but think, God is testing me and I have not been studying. I was moving the moose to put it down, tripped, kind of dropped it, and almost all the bones that I had glued into place broke off the back of it, and I was right back to square one. So I regrouped, re-glued everything back together. For this time, I used this guy, PL Premium. It works really, really well. It holds everything in place really, really well. What I don't like about using glue like this is it dries gray, so you have to paint it afterwards. That's why I normally like using super glue or white glue if I can, because they dry more or less clear, so you don't have to paint it afterwards. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to paint this guy, which I hate painting skulls, but we're gonna just focus on where that PL Premium stuff is. We're not painting the whole thing. We're gonna try and blend it all in, so in the end it should look good. Here's how that moose skull looks with the new glue on it. It's not particularly beautiful at the moment, but throw some paint on there and it should blend it in pretty good, and I think it'll look all right. Okay, I got the first coat done. It's looking decent, so I'm going to put another one on top of that. Hopefully I don't need a third coat, but we'll see how it turns out after that one's dry. Here's our final moose skull, all glued back together and painted and blended in. Considering how much damage was done to this skull when we started on it, I'm very happy with the way this guy turned out.